Hello, friends. Right now, the Social Security Administration is sending overpayment letters to seniors across this country. And for most people who receive one, the letter is a complete shock. No warning, no phone call. A letter arrives stating that you were overpaid, that you owe the Social Security Administration money, sometimes thousands of dollars, and that if you do not act, the SSA will begin taking 50% of your monthly benefit until the full amount is recovered. 50%. On a $2,000 monthly benefit, that is $1,000 gone from a single check. And most seniors who receive these letters have no idea they have rights, no idea there are deadlines attached to those rights, and no idea that in many cases, the debt can be canceled entirely without paying a single dollar back. Before we get into it, subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell. The Social Security overpayment rules changed significantly in 2025 and are still in effect heading through 2026. The SSA did not send a personal explanation to every beneficiary telling them what changed. The people subscribed here find out before a letter arrives. The ones who are not find out after the withholding has already started and half their check is already gone. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and let us get into what is actually happening right now. Here is what you need to understand first about how overpayments happen, because the vast majority of seniors receiving these letters are not people who did anything dishonest. An overpayment simply means the SSA paid you more than their records say you were eligible to receive during a given period. The causes are wide and often entirely innocent. If you returned to work and earned above the SSA's threshold without the agency processing that information in time, an overpayment can build over months before anyone flags it. If your living situation changed, a family member moved in, you moved to a different address, your household income shifted, and that change was not reported or was processed late, an overpayment can result. The point is this: receiving an overpayment letter does not mean you did something wrong. It means the SSA's records show a discrepancy, and federal law requires them to attempt to recover it. What you do next is what matters. Here is what the SSA is permitted to do and when. For Social Security retirement, survivors, and disability benefits, what the SSA calls Title II benefits, the default withholding rate as of April 2025 and continuing through 2026 is 50% of your monthly benefit. That means if you take no action, the SSA will begin deducting 50% from every monthly check until the full overpayment amount is recovered. For SSI recipients, the withholding rate is 10%. But here is the critical fact that most people do not know. The SSA must wait at least 30 days after mailing the overpayment notice before it begins withholding. That 30-day window is your first and most powerful protection. If you file any request, an appeal, a waiver, or a request for a lower repayment rate within 30 days of the date on the letter, the SSA cannot begin withholding during the review period. Your benefit stays at 100% while your request is processed. That is not a guideline. That is the rule. Filing within 30 days pauses collection entirely. If you like what you are learning right now, hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps this reach the seniors who are opening one of these letters right now and have no idea what they are looking at. Now, let me walk you through your 3 options, because this is where most people get lost. The SSA's overpayment letter typically mentions 2 options and buries the third. Here they are clearly. Option 1 is to appeal the overpayment. This is the right move if you believe the SSA is simply wrong, if you were not overpaid, if the amount is incorrect, or if their records do not reflect what actually happened. The form you need is Form SSA 561, the request for reconsideration. You are telling the SSA their math or their facts are wrong and asking them to look again. You have 90 days from the date on the notice to file this. If you file within 30 days, withholding is paused. Between 30 and 90 days, collection may begin, but you still have the right to appeal. Option 2 is to request a waiver. This is the right move if you accept that an overpayment occurred, but believe repaying it would be unjust or cause genuine financial hardship. The form you need is Form SSA-632, the Request for Waiver of Overpayment Recovery. To qualify for a waiver, you need to meet 2 conditions. First, you were not at fault for the overpayment. Second, recovery of the overpayment would either defeat the purpose of the Social Security program by leaving you without enough to cover basic living expenses, or would be against equity and good conscience. If the overpayment happened because of an SSA processing error or because of a complex rule interaction you had no reasonable way to predict, the not at fault condition is often met. There is no time limit to request a waiver, but acting quickly matters because the sooner you file, the sooner collection is paused. And here is something most seniors never hear. If your overpayment is $2,000 or less and you were not at fault, the SSA has the authority in 2026 to waive it through a simplified process, sometimes with a single phone call to 1-800-772-1213, rather than a full written application. Option 3 is to request a lower withholding rate. This is the right move if you accept the overpayment and cannot dispute it, but 50% withholding would make it impossible to cover your basic living expenses. The form you need is Form SSA 634. There is no income limit or formal eligibility test for a rate reduction. You simply need to demonstrate that 50% withholding prevents you from covering rent, utilities, food, and medical costs. The SSA can agree to reduce the withholding to any rate they believe your situation supports, including as low as $10 per month in cases of genuine hardship. Drop a comment below right now. Type letter if you or someone you know has received a Social Security overpayment notice. It takes 2 seconds, and it tells me exactly how many people watching this right now are dealing with this situation today. Here is what to do right now, depending on where you are. If you have just received an overpayment notice and the date on the letter is within the last 30 days, act today. Do not wait. File your appeal using Form SSA 561 if you believe the overpayment is wrong. File your waiver request using Form SSA 632 if you accept the overpayment but cannot afford to repay it. File your rate reduction request using Form SSA 634 if you need a lower withholding rate. All 3 forms are available at ssa.gov. You can also call the SSA directly on 1-800-772-1213, and they can walk you through the right form for your situation. For overpayments of $2,000 or less, a phone call may be enough to resolve it without a full written application. If the 30-day window has already passed, but you are still within 90 days, file your appeal or waiver immediately. You may have already seen some withholding begin, but filing now still gives you the right to reconsideration and to pause further collection while your case is reviewed. If the 90-day window has passed and withholding has already begun at 50%, you can still request a lower repayment rate using Form SSA 634, and the SSA can reduce the withholding. The debt does not disappear, but 50% does not have to be permanent. If you cannot afford assistance and need help navigating the appeal or waiver process, legal aid organizations in every state provide free Social Security appeals assistance. Your state's legal aid office is the right starting point. The SSA also has a network of benefits counselors through the WIPA program, Work Incentive Planning and Assistance, who provide free help to SSDI and SSI recipients specifically. So here is the summary. The SSA is actively sending overpayment letters in 2026. For Title II retirement, survivors, and disability benefits, the default withholding rate is 50% of your monthly check. The SSA must wait at least 30 days before withholding begins. Filing any request within 30 days pauses collection entirely. You have 3 options. Appeal using Form SSA 561 if the overpayment is wrong. waiver using Form SSA 632 if repayment would cause hardship, or rate reduction using Form SSA 634 if 50% is too much. Overpayments of $2,000 or less may be resolved with a single phone call. Free legal help is available through your state's legal aid office and through the WIPA program. Call the SSA on 1-800-772-1213. And do not ignore the letter. Ignoring it is the one action that leaves you with no options at all. Subscribe and share this with anyone you know who receives Social Security benefits. One conversation today could protect someone's entire monthly income before the deadline passes.